Okay. Everything looks good so far. I'm gonna double check to make sure that everything is good. Yep. All right. Right on. This is a little loud. I'm gonna just turn that down. All right. So, hello, hello, hello. I think I can do this now. Interesting. Hello, hello. Hello, hello everyone. How is everyone doing today? So, today I am wrapping up what I was doing on Monday, which was handling default distributions, doing stuff like that, basically getting that finished up. And then I think we're good to go for the most part. All right, so the last thing I left off with was in the config, wherever that is. Yeah, basically here. So what I want to do is I need to add some description for this. I need to change the descriptions here and here. I have to do the same thing for default damage and yeah, pretty much. So let's see. Form ID. Okay, perfect. So that's that. And then this one here. So default shield distribution option, probably. This turns that. And this is still no resistances, because there's no like default configurable option for that. Okay, so this has a name. I think I could say change the default behavior of. There you go. I can do that. And now I need to list the different options that there are for this. No all effective allow bypass. Oh yeah, you messaged me, Kusanagi. I forgot to get back to you. I was like super tired, I think, the day you messaged me, and then I looked at the message. I was like, oh, I should take a look at this. And then since I looked at it, I didn't have the notif anymore, and I just forgot about it the next morning. So there was no, there was all. Oops, I need to put you. Do I need a? I think that's right. I think I need to escape it like that. I think that works. Will you have that? Hmm. No, that's definitely right. I think I escaped it that way. It's not this way for sure. Yeah, okay, yeah, no, that's right. It's all, and then there is effective to regular types. I need to define what the word regular types means in this context. I should probably just have this as regular types, and then say regular types are types that differently. Internal built-in type. I cannot spell. I don't like the way that's worded. Almost all types except for one internal built-in type. Okay, yeah, I think I'll just go with this. That works. And now I think I have to define a similar thing here. Ooh, when will we update B? Depends on when I get around to finishing it. I think if I finish it today, maybe today, probably. Unless there's anything else I want to add to this update, which I might. In which case, it would depend on when that finishes too. So, yeah, pretty much depends when this finishes and if there's anything else I need to fix. So maybe today. If I don't finish it on the stream, I won't be able to finish it today because I'm just gonna be too busy to actually finish it today. I have a bit of a busy day. Uh, It's already said damage type to bypass the mob adaptation. You mean like mob adaptability? Yep, yep. Okay. Well, yes, technically. Now, you can definitely set this up with Craft Tweaker. So here's sort of the deal here with how you can go about setting up something like that. And this is why I've exposed a lot of stuff to Craft Tweaker because it actually allows you to take something like that idea and not have me add any sort of special functionality for that because that could be done. So let's say you define a custom type, right? Like let's say I go I think somewhere here I should have a script. Scripts. Okay, yes. Example damage type. Good, I think. Yeah. So let's say I have this, right? This is my example damage type. I don't really have syntax highlighting for ZenScript in Eclipse. I don't even think such a plugin exists, and most syntax highlighting for ZenScript is not the greatest. But either way, I have I create an example I create an example damage type using the damage type builder from ZenScript. I set its display name, I set death messages, I set its color, and then I register it, and I'm good to go, right? Now let's say I want to then have this example damage type bypass mob adaptability. Then what I can do is there's an event, a craft tweaker event, right here. This mods.ddd.events.update adaptive resistance event. It's got a couple of stuff that might be useful, but it does extend this event, which will allow me to get damage for a type to see if it's damage is inflicted. So that'll be a useful tool that helps us later. And so what I can do with this event is that I can very easily set up a little script. Right? Let's actually do that. Let's set up a little script here. File, this will be .zs. Yeah. So this is going to be, this is not a content tweaker script, so I just need this. Did I spell that right? Mod load the same time description. Yeah, okay. So then I'm going to go, what am I going to do? Let me switch to Nope, that's not that one. This one. Yeah, okay, so let's take a look at this. I think I can do this, just in case. I'm gonna pause the music I'm listening to in case Firefox decides to pick it. It shouldn't, but whatever. Anyway, so here, right? This. I have a whole article on the wiki that explains how the events work, right? But this is the really important part. I'm going to be using this update adaptive resistances event. And so this is the Zen method I need to call on this class. So the way that works is I do mods.ddd.events.ddd.events dot on update adaptive resistances. And then this needs to be a function which takes an event as mods.ddd.events.update adaptive resistances event. Oops. And now what I can define in here is something pretty neat. So I showed, and I can actually show, and I realize I'm not actually showing what I'm typing right now, but I will show that in a second. Because we still actually need this real quick. Did I not find this correctly? Oh, it's update adaptive resistances. It's just I update adaptive resistances event. Oh, I see. Oops. So that's, I think that fixes that. Now if I click here, it takes me here. Okay, perfect. Because it's called update adaptive resistances event. And even checking in the code, update adaptive resistance. I really need to pay a little bit more attention. Update adaptive resistance. So particular. Let me edit this. It is on update adaptive resistances. It should be. Now I'm gonna double check to make sure I got that right. On update adaptive resistances, plural. Update adaptive resistance, singular, event. That's annoying, but whatever. Update adaptive resistance event. And now this takes me here. Okay, so this event, it can allow me, it extends this calculation event, which I mentioned. And this calculation event that I extend allows me to do this, which is important, right? Only the eclipse can be seen. Wait, yeah, no, wait. You should be able to see the Firefox now, right? Yeah. I should have fixed it. It should be. Anyway, what I need to do anyway is fade back to this anyway, because I'll be showing this. Okay, well, so what I have here that I've written is mods.ddd.events.ddd events. This is the class for DDD's event handler. And then I just call on update adaptive resistances, plural, function event as mods.ddd.events.update adaptive resistance, singular event. I know it's a little weird. And then here I define a function that does what I need to do. So what I can do on this event, since this event extends the IDDD calculation event, it has a .get damage Zen method I can use. So I can and this get damage is the damage that the mob took, right? So if I do if event .get damage and I do DDD type example, right? This will get the example damage that this mob took. Now, if that's strictly greater than 0, then the mob took example damage. And then there in the update adaptive resistance event, there is a Zen method called deny result. Prevent this entity from updating its adaptive resistances. So I can do event.deny result just like this, and it will deny it. And this creates a listener whenever a mob is trying to update its adaptive resistance, or whenever a mob should check if it should update its adaptive resistance. Mobs that don't have adaptive resistance, this still fires if a mob doesn't have adaptive resistance set, because you can also use this event to make them adapt to damage, even if they wouldn't normally. But if the damage for if the example damage that the mob is taking is non-zero, or greater than 0, then it took example damage, and we just deny it. So it will not adapt at all when it gets hit with example damage. Now, if it had previously adapted to damage, like let's say you hit it with something else and it adapted to that damage, it will keep that adaptation. It will just not adapt to whatever you are hitting it with if whatever you are hitting it with inflicts this example damage. That makes sense? You can't undo any adaptation that a mob currently has, but you can set something up to deny them their adaptation. So technically, it isn't an issue if it's a whole damage type. Yeah. Now you could set up this example damage type to have this property, because you create the example damage type in a content tweaker script, and then in a craft tweaker script you set up this little event handler that has this check for example damage, and then denies the adaptation if it's greater than 0. And of course, you can go crazy. Whatever you can put in here is, the sky's the limit. I could check for particular damage types on particular mobs, in particular dimensions, under particular conditions, and so on and so forth. But this is the base idea for setting up some kind of denial. How would it look with a particular damage type? Well, it's this is how it would look with a particular damage type. Whatever damage type you create, right? If I wanted to set it for bludgeoning, I would do bludgeoning. Alright, if I want to set it for cold damage, I do cold damage. And then whenever the mob takes cold damage, because whenever the amount of cold damage it takes is greater than 0, it'll deny it, and it just won't adapt at all to anything. So if I hit it with a weapon that's 50% cold and 50% slashing, because the amount of cold damage is greater than 0, it will not adapt to the cold or the slashing. It just doesn't adapt to anything. I deny its adaptation completely. Where does that script go to? Like, where would you put this? You would just put this in your script folder, the same where you put all your other scripts. Right? I have this here in my scripts folder. This is for my development environment, but this is the scripts folder that Craft Tweaker uses, and you just drop it in there, and then you're good to go. That's it. There's one missing. There's one missing. What did I say? There's one missing? This is the whole script that would get it to work. It denies adaptation completely. Just change this type here, this DDD type cold, to DDD type whatever type you want to have deny adaptation. Right? Which I used example because in this I'm saying my example damage type that I defined here, right? I have a content tweaker script that defines an example damage type. I'm using that example damage type to deny the result. It doesn't have to be a content tweaker defined damage type. Just any damage type that DDD has registered, you can use here. Right? I'm just using a craft tweaker defined example type, uh, just as a showcase. Be whatever type you want, and you can deny the entire thing. There's also a couple of other things you can do. You can deny particular types and the whole thing. Uh, yeah, this is pretty much the idea. All right, brilliant. Okay, so we have that. Where was I? I was in resistance category. One of my default shield distribution behaviors, all effectiveness. I can't spell. Could the shield distributions work with Tinker signs? Yes, it kind of already does. Where is this? Resources. Tinker's book. That's index. It blocks the whole hit currently. Oh, I think the reason it can't. Yeah, I think the reason why it can't is because just the way Tinkers works in general. I think I tried to get something like that to work, but it just doesn't. It just doesn't because battle signs are not shields, technically. They technically are not shields. So DDD can't assign a shield distribution to something that isn't a shield, technically. What I did do was determine how battle sign counterattacks work. The battle sign counterattack has the same distribution of the battle sign itself. So the battle sign counterattack will have the same distribution as the battle sign, but it can't in itself be a shield. To give its block a cooldown, giving its block a cooldown. I mean, I feel like you could definitely do that, but it wouldn't be like a DDD specific script. It would just be a general Zen script. But I wonder, I feel like you can set item cooldowns. I feel like. but I need to check. Enchanted, damageable. Doo -doo 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 -doo. Block casting, lore display name, enchantments. Egg liquid amount, weight, ores, yeah. Doo -doo. Interesting. Can we set this? No. Huh. Okay, so I don't think you can definition name, display name, hard disk damage, max damage. I'm just looking at the Craft Tweaker wiki for this. Container item has container repair costs is on item frame as effective display date metadata. Shows durability bars, custom enchantment, match exact, max item use duration. Max item use duration. Okay, so if you need to set a cooldown on an item, how do you do that? Give me the item hierarchy. Not call hierarchy, that's not what I want. Type hierarchy. Item ender pearl. Fire in target cooldown tracker dot set cooldown. I see. So the cooldown tracker is linked to the player, and then you link it to the item itself. I see. Okay, so if that's that, then this might be possible. It might not be under. This is for the player specifically. So where is the player? Current item, session, food stats, update, send status message, give teleport, XC command, drop item, get cooldown, set cooldown. Aha, set cooldown. Sets cooldown time of a specific item for the player. Well, okay, yeah, so you can set a cooldown for the block. You need the item definition, so the Tinker's battle sign, and then you need the number of seconds. I assume that's seconds. It might be ticks. It might be ticks. So then where's my thing? Here. You need to check when the item is used. More importantly, battle signs are pretty unique. They overshadow normal shields from DDD, yet you raise out a cooldown, naming them to retain their uniqueness. Yeah, I mean, that's fair. Get active item stack. Enum action block. Get max item use duration on item right click. Huh. Active item set blocking. So it can't do that. It should block damage. And then it attacks and it causes thorn damage. You need to find a context. You need to be able to define the context where you know that the battle sign has been used. What kind of context would that be? Yeah, see, that's what I'm trying to think. Finding the context where the battle sign has been blocked. It's like that context needs to be something that we can define through Craft Tweaker, which should be like these are on living. This is on living hurt event. And living attack event. I mean, I guess what you could do is on the living attack event. Can we set the priority for this event? Surely we can. Or maybe not. Or maybe it already goes low priority, so it might be fine. Where are the events? Hello? Events. Looking at this. I don't think I want the item use because that's not gonna work. Okay, so yeah, I think if here's my idea. I have no idea if this works. You have events dot on where is it? Entity living hurt. Uh, function event as craft tweaker dot event dot entity living hurt event. If event dot this should be the yeah, so the living event is going to be entity dot entity living base instance of I player var let's see. Var player equals event entity living base as I player. I think that's correct syntax. I'm not sure. Basically, I cast it to a player. That way, I can do player dot active item stack. There should be. Wait, is there no way to get the active item stack? That's kind of relevant, dude. Or maybe it's under entity living base. Active item stack. Okay, so I technically don't need to do this cast. The active item stack. This is an item stack. I could define an I ingredient here as well. I want to do that if I figure out where this is. Where's my I ingredient? I ingredient, there we are. Var, so this is an I ingredient, or I guess it's val, excuse me. Battle sign equals, I guess this is Tinker's construct? Is that the thing? I should know this. I should know this. Hold on, I can figure this out. Config default values. Where do we define something from Tinker's? T construct. Right. Of course it's T construct. T construct battle sign. I think that's the actual thing. I can also double check this. That's projectile base damage. T construct. Where are you? Battle sign. Okay, yeah. So that's the idea of that. T construct battle sign. If battle sign dot matches event dot and delivering base dot active item stack. Yep. Is the active item stack? It's just a Zen getter. Yeah, it's just a Zen getter, so it's fine. Then, so we know that they're actively blocking with a battle sign. Now, there is, it gets a little bit trickier. Because should block damage. Yeah, so that part's a little tricky. But technically, this is probably fine. Now, should block damage is active item stack blocking. Yeah, and it's not. So, okay, so that works. Now, we can't block these ones. If it's unblockable, if it's magic damage, if it's explosion damage, or if it's projectile damage. So we need to add those checks. Or is it like that, or is it one or two? I need to double check that. Conditional statements. Okay, yeah, it's the same thing. Or event dot source. Where are we at? We are at living hurt event. This, yeah. Event dot damage source. Damage source. I should have this here. Equals event dot damage source. Source dot. Now I need to check this. Well, since it's is explosion, is magic, is magic, is explosion, is projectile, is unblockable. Source dot is explosion. This needs to be not source dot is explosion. Actually, it needs to not be an explosion. It needs to oh wait, this is just a bunch of ands. It needs to not be explosion, and it needs to not be unblockable. And dot is magic damage. It needs to not be magic damage. And source dot oops is projectile. It needs to not be projectile damage. So if we're blocking with the battle sign, it's not explosion damage, it's not unblockable damage, it's not magic damage, and it's not projectile damage, then under those conditions, the battle sign would block the damage. So then you do val player equals event dot entity living base as I player, and then you do player dot. We are nearly there. I need to figure out this. Where is it? It is set cooldown. Set cooldown. Deconstruct. Whoa. Whoa, I can't spell. Battle sign. Whatever amount you want. Let's say 20 ticks for a 1 second cooldown. Doesn't matter. You can set it for whatever you want there. This is going to be the amount of ticks, where 20 ticks is 1 second, that the battle sign will be on cooldown and cannot be used again. And then I think you're just done like that. This is kind of the idea for setting a cooldown. You need to define the context where you want to set the cooldown. I want to set the cooldown. I want to set the cooldown. I think battle signs deflects projectiles. Yeah. It deflects arrows. That's a whole other thing. Battle signs can be disabled. Actually, wouldn't it be easier to make it take a fake 100% axe? Actually, no. That would probably be harder. But this is the same kind of cooldown that would stop a battle or a battle sign. Or sorry, this is the same kind of cooldown that an axe would apply. The axe would apply the same kind of cooldown through this exact same kind of method. However, it's not in ZenScript, it's in Java, but it's pretty much done the exact same way. The only difference is that we're not checking for an axe because an axe will disable it anyway. Um, we're just checking all of these things to check is the battle sign actually is it live? When I say is it live, I mean is all the conditions met for it to do its thing. If all the and so we know the conditions where the battle sign will do its thing. It will do its thing if it's actively being used. It's not it's not trying to block explosion, unblockable magic or projectile damage. Now yes, it does deflect projectiles. More on that in a second. And so if that's the case, this is talking for when it's taking damage and it's deflecting damage back. Then these are the same conditions where the battle sign would be used normally. Since these are the same conditions that a battle sign would be used normally, this bit of code is only going to run, assuming all of our research on the functionality is correct, this block of code only runs when the battle sign is actually blocking something, which is exactly what we're looking for. Now I can just set the cooldown on all battle signs because that's how cooldowns work in Minecraft. It applies it to all items of the same type, and I can put a cooldown on all battle signs for 20 ticks for this player. And then we're good to go. Now, again, projectiles. It's like, well, battle signs, Tinker's Construct battle signs straight up reflect projectiles. But it reflects projectiles differently, and if you want to put a cooldown on that, that's probably going to be harder. Because you need to actually do vector math to know if it's going to work. And furthermore, I don't think Craft Tweaker can receive canceled event. And so what I'm thinking is that, like, if this runs before Craft Tweaker runs their event, it's going to cancel it before Craft Tweaker can put a cooldown on the battle sign. Which, you know. But yeah. If you're fine with the projectile parry, which honestly I think is not something that necessarily needs a cooldown. It might technically be possible to put a cooldown on it, but off the top of my head, I don't know how you would necessarily go about doing that. Like through Zen script for the battle sign at the right side. Oh, for like the actual source code of the battle sign, or our little script that we have. This script, the script. Yeah, sure. I can just pop this over here. I guess I could actually plop it here. That's probably better because then you can actually see the whole thing. I mean, this kind of goes off to the side, but I can do something like this. I don't like how it did that. I don't know. ZenScript should be able to handle this multi-line if statement condition, but I'm putting it like this so that you can actually see everything. But maybe keep it all on one line. I don't know. It's up to you if you wish to or not. But this is the idea. And so I need to put quotes on this bad boy. Behavior. Default shield distribution behavior also has effective? What did I even say? Effective to regular types and allow bypass damage type. Okay, so this is shield, right? Yeah, this is shield. And armor has the exact same ones. No effectiveness, all effectiveness, speculative regular types, all bypass type. Okay, yeah. Just want to make sure I didn't copy the wrong thing. Effective to regular types. Effectiveness. Dude, I was like, what is this ENE? That's not how you spell effectiveness. My brain just turned off. I've been spelling effectiveness, I guess, over 2 hours. I've been using this word over and over again, so good for me. But no, this is how you spell the word. Don't worry. I I know the English language. Effective regular types. We'll have effective to all regular types. Regular types are types that DDD doesn't treat. Oh, I was on a roll. And my fingers stopped working, just like my brain. Differently. Only two non-regular types exist, and they are built in. Allow bypass damage type. Shields not defined. Whoa, buddy. We'll have. Can I just. 100 fraction solace if one in turn builds in types. Don't mind me, just gonna do one of these. Thank you. What's going on? What? What is this? No. Who said? Who said? All types except for one built-in internal type. Internal built-in type. The same thing. The unknown type. This unknown type bypass. The shield. Aha! I knew there's something I need to change here. This is that right there is why you don't copy paste. There's a good 90% chance I missed that. That's why you don't do it. Do as I say, not as I do. I guess except actually even with this, do as I say, not as I do, because I'm not even sure how correct this is. I'm like a good 85% confident. So if you want to gamble that 15%, then you go for it. But this I am confident on because I actually wrote the Java code that makes this Zen script work. So you don't need to gamble on this one, just on, I guess, this part here. I mean, the logic is right. I just don't know if the syntax and like methodology is right. I believe everything is correct here. Like everything functions and will have the intended result. But Anyway, I presume you have taken this. So I'm going to close this because I need more space up here. Indeed. Okay. Perfect. And now that we got that, I need to go to damage category. This. And now I need to define. Oh boy, we had to do it 3 whole more times. However, I can because it's actually legit the same enum. So the I could write this. I could write this in a way where I can copy paste it. Now we're cooking with gas. This was default shield distribution, default armor distribution, default mob damage distribution. This is good. Actually, let's do one of these. Change the default thing. Oh no, both scripts throw errors. I give myself a slow clap. Good job, me. What's the error for the first one? And never mind the second one. I don't care about the second one. No, the this one. The damage type one. The adaptive resistance one. This says at line 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So here, what does it say? Cannot resolve damage type. What is this? What did you put here? DDD type colon what? Custom damage type I made. You define the custom damage type in JSON? DDD type true. Yeah, it's on JSON. Okay. So let's see. Let's run. Let's boop 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 boop. Damage types. Example damage type. So you're using this, right? So this is your JSON file has this type of structure. You're using this field, the name field, right, for your true thing. So whatever you have here, not here, here, you're using this one. Both is called true, all lowercase. That's interesting. And you're using DDD 1 point whatever the version is. 1.5.3. 1.4.2. Oh, nah. You need 1.5.3. You update your DDD. Update. It's actually really huge to update because the way DDD works with Craft Tweaker changed a lot in 1.5 or 1.5.1 or whatever. And the way it changed is what like I'm using the way it works in the new version here. The way it worked in the old version, I think this event did exist, but I think if you absolutely had to use um the old version, it might be event.getDamage, and you put this in a string. So instead of being like this, you could try this, or in your case, or I spelled that wrong, but in your case, you could try that instead. But again, I highly recommend you update your DDD because this is way better syntactically, in my opinion, than using strings because then DDD tells you if this damage type exists or whatever. Um, but yeah, try updating your DDD and then doing this. Those watching at home, update your DDD is because it kind of crashes with adjacent damage type. Then define your adjacent damage type with Craft Weaker. Here. I got you. I got you. Watch this. Um, Here's exactly how you define it in Craft Weaker. We'll call it true.zs, right? Because this is for your true damage type, right? I do loader content tweaker. I do mod loaded distinct damage descriptions. Then I do the exact same thing I did over here. I'm gonna do val. I shouldn't use true because true is a registered word in Craft Tweaker, so Craft Tweaker might actually have a slight problem with that. I will use type. I will use damage type just in case. Equals mods.ddd dot damage type builder dot create, and then here I put true. This is the internal name of your damage type. So now with this create when you've created it, after you register it, you will reference it with ddd type true in the bracket handler like this. This part goes to what's highlighted here. They will always be the same. Change what's in blue. You would have to change what's in white to the same thing when you reference the type in your scripts elsewhere. When you reference your type in non-content tweaker scripts, I should specify. Content tweaker scripts, you can't use this bracket handler because the types aren't registered yet, so it's going to cause problems. But we're using a regular craft tweaker script, so we're good to go. So now I do damage type dot display name, and I can set it to true. Just proper capitalization or whatever, right? Now these are optional. Technically, everything is optional. Let me switch over to the wiki, which should work. I'm gonna switch over to the wiki now, and I should be able to double check to make sure it switches over correctly. It does mention does it work in later versions? Yeah, I'll show you. I'll show you how it works. Just and memento, por favor. Okay. Okay, so here we are. We are in the yeah. Okay, so this is showing up correctly. Good. All right, so on the wiki, oh, under content tweaker and damage type of non-listed items, not sometimes random anymore too. That should be fixed. It should be fixed. I put a lot of work into making sure that default distributions don't do random nonsense. So it should be fixed. I am very confident that it should be fixed, but I have been duped by that issue multiple times. Um, but the recent update of DDD has made another attempt at fixing it. And I have not encountered any problems, nor have I heard any problems from recent versions of DDD having that problem. So it shouldn't sometimes be random. I also fixed with like your pack in particular, like Supremium, you can't put it in the smeltery because the way that Supremium works with damage types, or sorry, the way that DDD added NBT data and it didn't work and stuff like that, that's fixed. That part's fixed as well. DDD now doesn't give actual damage distributions to items that don't have distributions given. So what I mean is a Supremium ingot, I'm not DDD actually isn't going to give a capability to that item to give it a damage distribution. It will realize it doesn't have a damage distribution and then go use a default defined one instead of actually giving it one. So NBT data isn't saved for items that don't have a damage distribution defined. So technically the problem shouldn't exist. Because non-listed items are now not given damage distributions. DDD just checks, you don't have a damage distribution, so I'm just going to go use the default one instead of assigning you the default one, if that makes sense. Now, under the content tweaker section in the wiki, you can go to the damage type builder, so it's clean. Yes, so it's clean. It should be. It should be clean. I've fixed it. It should be good. So under the damage type builder section, the DDD's damage type will let you create new damage types easily in ZenScript. This walks you through the process of setting up a damage type. And it also tells you all the stuff you can set. So for the death messages, if this isn't set before calling register, DDD will not display a different death message and Minecraft will display a normal death message instead. So the death message has attacker and death message no attacker. Not required, they are optional. The display name is technically optional as well, because if you don't set this property before calling register, DDD will use whatever you have here as display name. But it will throw a fit at you. DDD will throw a fit at you and tell you, hey, maybe you should give it a display name. Like, let's be proper here. Most times you want to set a display name, and DDD just assumes you forgot to set a display name. So DDD just kind of goes, you probably want to take a look at this. But technically, yes, it is optional. And the color is optional as well. If you don't set the color, it defaults to hex FFFFFF, which is just pure white. And then you can set this or this. It defaults to being special. So the damage types have what I'm calling a category. Whether they're categorized as physical or categorized as special. Think like Pokemon moves, how some moves are physical, some moves are special. However, not like modern Pokemon, like Gen 3 Pokemon, where some types are always special and some types are always physical. This is kind of similar to that. Whether or not you intend to use it or not, you don't need to. It's just there if you want. This was always here, I should clarify. This existed in 1.4.2 and stuff too. Like, this has always been a thing. But the default is special. Again, if you don't intend on interacting with this category system, you don't need to care. And it is optional. And then you call register when you're done. And then here's a little example script on how you would go about doing that. So I can switch back here. And let me check this out. Okay, so now that I have this, so technically everything is optional. If you don't care about a death message for this, you don't need to include it. If you don't care about a color, you don't need to include it. Technically, all you need is this line. You should include this line because DDD is going to complain at you if you don't, but it will begrudgingly continue basically. And then you just need to do damage type dot register. These three lines is pretty much all you need, and bam, you've defined the damage type. Now, if you're like, but wait, this doesn't define when this damage type is used and stuff, well, you have to do that through additional Zen script. But if this is just a damage type you wanted to use to represent true damage, then you don't need to worry about that. Like if your JSON file, if your JSON file left this pretty much empty, then you don't need to worry about that. If your JSON file included stuff here, then that can be replicated, but you have to sort of replicate it very similarly to how we set up something like this. Like you actually have to define that context through something provided by DDD as well. DDD has another content tweaker script you can create to set that up, but I'm not really gonna go over that right now. But this is the idea. By this is the idea, I mean this is the idea. You just throw these three lines down, and you're good. And then DDD will create this damage type called true, and then now keep in mind when you do this, you need to get rid of your JSON file, or you need to move your JSON file somewhere else, because DDD is going to go, wait, what the heck? This type already exists. It's defined in JSON. Or when DDD loads JSON, DDD is going to say, hey, what the heck is this? This was defined in Craft Tweaker or Content Tweaker. What are you doing? So move that JSON file somewhere else. You don't necessarily need to delete it, but just move it out of the config folder. Because DDD is going to be like, it exists twice. It might, depending on the order, if it runs the script first, which it probably will, and it runs the JSON later, it might try to add the context that the JSON created to that damage type, but I just recommend not having a JSON and a Zen script use the same name. And then once you have that, this will work. Now, as for this part, and why this isn't working, what error does it give for the battle sign part? Here's what I typed it, but what would I do? At line 6, expected. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is this what your line 6 looks like? Because I recommend putting them all on one line because I don't know if Craft Tweaker can handle them on multiple lines. I put them on multiple lines because when I left this up for you to take a look at, this part's cut off. You can't see the rest of it, right? Um, I mean, I guess I could maybe do something like this, but anyway. Make sure it looks like this, and then give it another shot. Or if it already looks like this, then you're talking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is this what your line 6 looks like? Is your line 6 entity dot or event dot any living base? My line 6 stops at player. Oh, okay, so your line 6 stops as iPlayer. Um, then I may have done this cast wrong. And that's because, honestly, the times that I've done casting are advanced function. Oh, do I need? I think I know what I need to do. Maybe. Maybe you need to do it like this. Val player as I player equals event dot entity living base. I think. I think. Oh wait, you added a no, 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 no. Don't have the pipe. You don't need the pipe. No, no pipe. Just I player semicolon. If this doesn't work, try moving the as I player before the equal sign. Um, Specifically not including the semicolon. Obviously, leave the semicolon at the end. Just move the as I player part before the equal sign. If this doesn't work, but don't have the pipe. I assumed the pipe was a typo there because that's right next to the enter key on the keyboard. So I was like, oh yeah, maybe that wasn't intentional. But yeah, leave it like that. That's not how you spell that. There's like four types, right? Normal and bypass. Right. Alrighty. Alright. Give me one quick second. I will be right back. I am back. Okay, so I just kind of have to copy the same thing for the other ones. I can send you a file because I'm having a typo issue. Okay, let me take a look at it. Val player as I play. Oh, okay, I see. So this is looking good. This part here looks fine. This part here looks fine. This part here looks fine. Right here, you have a space. We can't have a space there. Right here, you have an I, but we need an exclamation mark. And then try moving your Val player thing so that it's on its own line. Just for the sake of readability and stuff. So now I need to copy pretty much this entire thing, and then just change mob to item, and then to projectile. Item, change default damage distribution. Items used when they aren't given one in the config. And then items, items, items. That's how you spell that. That's still not how you spell that. And items. That's still not how you spell that. Good. Projectile. Oh wait, no, this needs to be capitalized. Darn, that's more like this one. Okay. And now I have to change this. I need to have this be use a default projectile distribution. Alright, listed here, we'll use no matter the projectile. And then here, we'll use the default item distribution, no matter the item. Default item damage distribution, just to make it clear. Default projectile damage distribution. Mobs that aren't listed here, we'll use the default mob damage distribution. Okie dokie. Now it gave me a long white text. What is long white text in this context? Oh, this seems to be public. That changes everything. I should do that for this as well. Oh, no, they are public. I just didn't get it right here. Default shield resist. I need to get shield distribution. Because since it's a thing, and since the default shield distribution extends shield distribution and does this. Okay, yeah. That's right. Because that shouldn't be able to be changed. But it's not assigned to it still, fundamentally. Because as if we get it. Yeah. This is good. Bunch of full frames over and over, then a bytecode. Oh, that. There should be an error at the top of that. Like, you may need to check crafttweaker.log before it spits out the bytecode. Um, there's probably something there. Dude, can you stop going to the other side of the world, dude? Um, big dot resist dot default armor resists. Do I need to? No, I don't need to copy or update because this is just in and of itself the right. I only need to get shield distribution on that one. This is for projectiles, so this is going to be mod config dot damage dot default projectile damage. And once again, you betrayed me. dmg dot default mob damage, and this is default item damage. Default item damage. Nice. Okay, so that's that. Let's head over to our test suite for this. Error executing bad type on operand stack. Does it specify what line? If none of the type integer, not assignable to a reference type. I beg your pardon. What integer? Wait. Craft trigger battle sign is 2. Any values not yet supported. Cannot find type iPlayer. Cannot find type iPlayer. Okay, try doing this way. Move the iPlayer before the equal sign. I think you have to do it like this. Or do you have to actually specify the whole thing? That would be interesting. And also add an import here just in case. Import craft tweaker dot player dot iPlayer. Just in case, because we're doing a cast, it might complain about that as well. So move the as iPlayer over here, and add this import. Val player equals yeah. So event the entity living place as iPlayer. Yeah, I'm saying move the as iPlayer to the other side of the equal sign. Right? I did have it the way you had it before, but now I'm suggesting we move it over here. Because that might work. I'm not super familiar with how you cast with like Craft Tweaker scripts. I don't know if the as thing needs to be on this side or on this side. I'm leaning to it needing to be on this side now. That's what I'm thinking. Now, where was I? I was in this API implementation thing. I'm a jigger. So I've grabbed that. Oh, yeah, yeah. So I completed that. That's right. We're looking at the test. Where is the test? Where's the test? Right here. Yes. This should be get damage distribution. This should be mod config dot dmg dot default item damage. Dot dmg dot default mob damage. Dot dmg dot default projectile damage. And this should be mod config dot dmg dot default item damage. Config dot dmg dot not defined only gives bludgeoning for non-defined item if we do that and if it is that. Which it should be, because it's using the default, so it's fine. dmg dot that's defined only gives default for non-defined armor. Oh, this is not DMG. This is resist. Default armor resists. Config dot. Whoops, no, not that class. Resist default shield. I knew you were wrong. Test not defined still behaves normally for player. Mod config dot dmg dot default mob damage. Now find type iPlayer. Even with the import, this here, error executing, bad type on operand stack. I forgot the import. Try adding the import. That might fix it. I don't know what the difference is. Wait, show me import 1 sec, please. Okay, just a second. Interesting. This. Done. Okie doke. That's my null pointer exception. Really? You're gonna give me a null pointer exception? At line 31, at line 32. Oh, because the registries were not initialized, so that actually matters. I can just call init, right? And then it will just... And maybe I'll just call init here. dd registries.init. I do it for the configurations, so might as well do it for the registries. Run. Nice. You give the same problem? I mean, that's weird. I even read the config and everything. EDD registries. Init. Set up at 101. Valid expression, last token, import. Huh? Import craftreaker.player.iplayer, yeah? Where is this? Right here. Exactly like this. Import craftreaker.player.iplayer. Last token import. Hmm. Import craftreaker.player.iplayer. casting, which is a type of use. Unfortunately, some types need to be imported. This is one of those. I mean, is it actually spelled genuinely like this? And is it at the top? Put it at the, like, very top. I guess, like, before your preprocessors, if you have any. Well, this at the very, very top. Tweaker.player.iPlayer. And you have a semicolon at the end. Because that should be how that's supposed to work. Import craftreader.player.iPlayer. Yeah, that should be right. I sent you the file just in case. Okay. Let me see. That even... No. Do that. Oh, dude. Yes. Put the import above your... Put your import at the very top. Above your val battle sign equals T contract battle sign. Put your import all the way at the top. Your imports need to be the first things. So like I can have this thing here because this is a preprocessor instruction. That's different. But after your preprocessor instructions, that's where you have to put all your imports. You got to put all the imports here. And then you have your script. I know what's going on here. Whoops. Oh wait, don't make this final. Okay, so that should be good. And then the damage category. Oh, the damage category is fine because it's just that. Yeah, so it was literally just you that's a problem. That's no error, but the battle sign just has no cooldown. Well, that's a step in the right direction. So now you have to debug this. And to debug this, you'll probably want to. A way you can debug is you can add a print statement here. Um, Containing whatever. It doesn't matter. And then run it with this, and then check your crafttweaker.log. See if this exists in your crafttweaker.log. If this does not exist in your crafttweaker.log, then what that means is that it's never your code, your script isn't entering this block. And so that means these conditions aren't being satisfied. And then we need to look into those conditions to see why they're not satisfied. Because the alternative is these conditions are satisfied, it's just something about this just isn't working. So you have to figure out which one it is. Ratio. I didn't finish this. Filter predicates dot not. Whoa. Else, right. Let me just double check to make sure everything else is fully implemented. And then you look to be fully implemented correctly. So, okay, that's good. Yeah, I mean, that works. So, let's see. I run this again. It shouldn't crash initially, so this is good. This is why I have this. Dang it. Oh, but now it crashed elsewhere, which is better. Better. Registries dot damage types equals new DDD damage types. We do that so that I don't have to run the JSON thing because it's not going to work here. Okay, that worked. This means that we are good. Except this failed. I expected no effectiveness, but was default shield distribution behavior. Hey, yo. We mock a shield. Default shield distribution behavior. Default shield distribution. Oh! Dot get dot. Oh, wait. What? Oh, is this give me a shield? Is this a shield distribution, dude? This is a shield distribution. Wait, this is a shield. Oh, wait, no. This is not a shield distribution. There we go. That was the problem. Run. It works. Hooray. Okay. Good. Good. Good, good. This is good. All right, now there's default blah blah blahs. We'll deal with that. I need to go to the CT damage distribution, which is in integration craft tweaker types. CT damage distribution. Yes, is default. Default. Now we're checking if it's a default damage distribution. I now want to check instead. I want this to also implement I default distribution, even though all of this is unchanged. And the default armor distribution is going to implement I default distribution, and then the default damage distribution implements I default distribution. And now all I need to do over here is check to see if the dist is an instance of by default distribution. Bada boing. Because now if it's an infault? What is an infault? So where's the print thingy on the logs? The print thingy on the logs. Okay, so I in here. No, that's for that. Oh, it's gonna be in run. Yeah, yeah. Well, that's definitely not it. Okay, yeah. So in your you have your scripts folder here, right? One directory above your scripts folder, you will have this crafttweaker.log, right? And you want to scroll. You just want to. You can you if you open this in a special text editor, you can control F and look for whatever, right? Um, right, and it'll look like it won't be pre-initialization. It will be or no, it won't be under initialization either. It'll be whoa. It'll be in game. When you check with the log, like when you try to take the use your battle sign, um it should be somewhere here and it should say something client info whatever you wrote in the print statement, whatever you wrote here should be it should be something client info and then that not necessarily at the bottom of the log, somewhere in the log. So you might need to use control F to look for it. Yeah. So this should work because instance of I default distribution, but in order to construct it, I need to give a damage distribution. So this is going to be a damage distribution, and if I do this, that gets dist. It's inherently an I damage distribution. But if it's also an instance of I default distribution, then there's only one thing it can be, and that's one of these boys. We're good. All right, so now I don't need default armor distribution anymore. Bye-bye. Now I don't need the default damage distribution anymore. Bye-bye. I also don't need the default shield distribution anymore. I don't need a default distribution anymore. The class. All of our errors are gone. They weren't errors, they were warnings. They're all gone. So that means that it works. Well, it's. I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say it doesn't work. But I can definitely throw a test on that later. I'm just checking the time. So definitely what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna close the stream here because I finished implementing it. I finished the configs. It's setting it up. I do just need to test it to make sure it works. But I can maybe do that Monday, I'm hoping. Um Probably Monday. And yeah, so this is now technically good to go. After some testing, it should be good to push. Um, Oops, not access. Let's just do a build here because that should probably fix everything else. Just make sure it builds correctly. Nice, that's just empty. Cool. This is not having. Okay, whatever. It's fine. All right, so everything works, or like it compiles, basically, which is step one. All right, so that's where actually I'm going to wrap it for today. Um, and thank you everyone. It couldn't find the print. Oh, I couldn't find the print. So okay, what that means is that it's not entering this block, which means these conditions aren't being satisfied. It could be this part, it could be this part, it could be this part, or this part, or this part. Now add print statements. That's just this first part. And then print this. And then print this, print this. Add these print statements here. And so now we can check to see which one of these conditions aren't actually being satisfied. Ideally, these in the correct context where your battle sign should be given the cooldown, this should print true 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times in a row. But clearly one of these is probably going to end up being false. So try adding prints for each of these conditions. As we need to check true hypothetically, what should it be on 1.4.2? This part here should just be I think, don't quote me on it, but I think if you do this, it should work on 1.4.2. I think. It might work like this. Where you just put it in quotes. If this doesn't work, then I'm not sure. This snippet of code might not work on 1.4.2 if this doesn't work like this. All right. So, um I will not be streaming over the weekend because I've got stuff going on. Um but for sure I will be back on Monday to probably test this and make sure that this works. And if that finishes up early, then I might do like some continuum or whatever. So, without further ado, I'm going to get going. So, uh, by all means, I will be back Monday. So, have a good day, everyone. And, yeah, I will see you guys later. Bye.